Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. This this episode, this is our first episode, and this is patient led conversations. And because I'm a patient and I can't interview myself, I decided to invite my wonderful friend Kim to come along with me on this journey today. Now, the reason for this is that we want to educate people. We want to bring them out of the shadows. We want to know your story, know your journey, so that we maybe can walk along with you, give you insight on what you need to do in order to prevent this from happening to friends, family members. Just be aware of your bodies. So thank you for showing up today. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
I know, me too. I'm so glad, Nita, that you're here, your strength, your courage to come out. I know you've been through a lot. I'm really excited to, have your story unfold to inspire others to also share their journey, but also to keep the fight going because you
Mhm.
are that poster child of the fight that you need with peripheral artery disease. It's a debilitating disorder. It starts with that leg pain, the leg cramps, and it progresses and progresses, particularly for those with diabetes, particularly for
Mhm.
those who have smoked. They end up progressing a lot faster than many others. We all have plaque in our arteries, and as
Mhm.
we age, it just gets more and more. But for some, it's more debilitating than others. And for some, it progresses a lot quicker than others because of some other risk factors, which do include the high cholesterol, the high blood pressure, the diabetes, especially. A lot of those
Mhm.
patients get that disease mainly below the knees and into the foot.
Yes.
And those are the ones that I'm most concerned about that are at risk of critical limb ischemia, which is the advanced stage of PAD, where
Mhm.
it's critical limb threatening ischemia, where amputation could be on the line. And so it's really important for people like you to come out, share your stories, to help people understand all of the available options that are out there, but also to be able to relate to one another about the journey because it is not easy. So thank you for coming out, sharing your story. And we invite everyone who's watching this, come share your story, come participate. Because as we move along, we have an entire live studio audience of amazing PAD warriors. We have Douglas, we have Alan, and we have Marcia who are here, and we are probably going to be joined by more as this hour moves along. That they're going to be the ones that are going to be doing most of the question asking of Nita and relating to her journey and inquiring about her journey. And if you want to do the same, make sure you do put in comments. And Joshua, our amazing YouTube producer, will capture your information and be able to help notify you for the next one of these that you can participate in. In the meantime, go ahead in comments, share your insight, share your story, ask questions, and we will make sure that we bring them to Nita's attention. But don't forget, if you are on YouTube, like this video and subscribe to our channel. It is so important. We even have one already online. Hello to Tom. Thank you so much for joining us on
Hi,
YouTube.
friend.
He's going to be in comments, Tom. And you and everyone else who's on YouTube, make sure to join the conversation and make sure to ask your questions of Nita and help her story unfold throughout the next hour. And feel free to share some of your experience as well, because this conversation is about creating the change we want to see. All of the patients with PAD want to see in the care for PAD. Now, just remember that a lot of different patients may be sharing their story, including Nita, but don't think that your story needs to be like hers. Don't think that you need that same treatment or the same care, or don't look down on yourself because you might not have a positive experience in different senses. No two stories are alike, okay? And make sure before you act on any information provided here, talk to your healthcare professional, talk to your healthcare team. And if needed, go get a second opinion from another healthcare professional before acting on any advice to make sure you get explicit consent for the information that's right for you. Okay. And with that being said, um, thank you to the live studio audience. Thank you to Nita. And Nita, do you mind if I get started with just the first question and then we'll open it up?
No, No, go right
And
ahead.
the day before you started having symptoms, before you realized there might be something wrong, the
Mhm.
day before, what were you doing? What was your life like in the world of Nita?
I had just I had just moved to a new city to be closer to my grandkids. I had just turned 54 years old. I was ready to enjoy my life. I had a new adventure ahead of me, and I found a bump. It was like a mosquito bump on the top of my left foot. And I went to my doctors asking questions. I didn't know what questions to ask, but I tried to ask questions, and they would always give me what I believed to be shallow answers to my questions. And they waited. That little mosquito bite bump turned into a full-fledged infection that I didn't even know was an infection. And even after that, the first hospital I went to, emergency room, they told me there wasn't nothing wrong with me, but yet they sent me home with Percocets and antibiotics. My toes were like blueberries. They waited. They had ample time to save my toes, but they waited until I had turned fully gangrene. And then the next step was amputation. And right after that amputation of my toes, they started talking about amputation below the knee. And once my daughters heard that, they were behind the scenes and found a physician in Michigan. So that Sunday night, my daughter came downstairs and said, Mama, let's go. And I said, where are we going? She gave me a quick, you know, quick summary of what was about to happen. And then the next thing I knew, we was on our way to Michigan, driving 13 hours straight, nonstop. And she talked to me the whole way. And I think the reason why she did that, I know the reason why she did that was to calm me down. Okay. Um, so by the time we got to the hospital, that's when I found out what my real issue was. The fact that I had small vessels and the fact that I had peripheral artery disease. The whole time I was going through this in the other state, they never gave me the name of my condition. They were just cutting. In a week's time, I had had my toes amputated and I had a bypass. I have a scar from my bottom of my foot all the way up to my groin. I'm sorry. I'm going back in time now, so forgive me. So when I get to Michigan, they tell me we could have saved your toes. But the physicians that I was dealing with at the time, they had this God complex. If we can't fix it, no one else could. And then I find out that the vascular surgeon in the state that I had just came from, he knew the doctor that I went to see. But my daughter found this doctor on Twitter. And the fact that he actually tweeted back and said, bring her to me. She's too young to be going through all of this. Once I got there, everything started moving so fast. But the doctor came in and he said, we've been approved for this procedure. And you would be patient number one if you're willing to partake in this. And I jumped at the chance because by this time I had found so much confidence about this particular doctor. I jumped at the chance. Yes, I want to do it. Let's do it. And I found myself the next morning. It was March 3rd, going through into the emergency room. And right before I got there, he stopped and he prayed with me. And he reassured me that I was going to be okay. And after that procedure, I felt so much better, but I knew I still had a long road to go. and I had to go back to the state that I had just came from. And once I went back to that state, they started telling me again, it's an amputation. There's nothing we can do to save you. So my daughter called the doctor again, and he said, bring her back. Bring her back to me. Once again, we pack up on a Sunday and we head back to the state where that doctor was. I had to go to another podiatrist in Detroit to have reconstruction surgery on my foot because he said that they had botched it. He was going to do everything he could. That was the first time I woke up and I had a cast. They had never given me a cast. He had this big smiley face on it and a note saying, take care of our leg. Not just my leg, it was ours by this point. But I also knew I had a team of people that would be fighting for me and alongside me to get me to a point of regular life again, normal life. It was never going to be normal again because I left pieces of me on the drawing room floor. But I had to show this confidence, this strength, because I knew not only was my kids watching, but my grandkids was watching. I couldn't have a weak spine at that moment. So I would laugh my way through a lot. I would take joy in making other people happy. A lot. Even though now I'm still going through situations, it's not like it was. Let's just put it that way. I'm a girly girl. I love beautiful things. I used to love my shoes. And the first thing that came to mind once I came out of that procedure with this doctor was, I'm not going to be able to wear my shoes anymore. Now what? So now I have to start looking for someone to make me something that I could wear on a regular basis. And I found him. And he made me the most amazing prosthetic. Even to this day, doctors say they've never seen anything like it. And when I'm I'm looking for someone to be able to do the same thing that he did as far as my prosthesis goes. But once he did that, it's like a sock and it has weights in the toes. Once he did that, even though I knew I couldn't wear heels anymore, I could still wear shoes that I liked. Now, let me take you back real quick because I used to be in restaurant management. I owned restaurants, I owned clubs. So I was always on my feet. I was always going. And I was chalking it up to me being tired from working so much, of working so hard, of being on my legs all day. That's what I was chalking it up to. But looking back, hindsight, I realized I went through this for 7 years prior to me even getting to this doctor. I was going through this pain. It felt like bricks on my legs when I walked. I would cry, but I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't speak a word of it. But when I went to doctors, that's what they chalked it up to, restless leg syndrome. And that's in my head what I thought I had. Come to find out, I had PAD, peripheral artery disease. And once I found out about PAD, and once I found out I wasn't the only one dealing with this, I decided to be a voice for us so that we can have a seat at the big table, like I said. Cancer is a horrible disease all in itself. But I don't think people realize how horrible of a disease peripheral artery disease is. Because if you knew how horrible it was, you would get checked. You would ask questions to your doctors. You would tell your doctors how you truly was feeling. Stop hiding your symptoms from your doctors. Let them know so they can help you. Yes.
Go ahead, Douglas. Ask your question.
Yeah.
So, Anita,
Yes.
awesome. We know a little bit about you because we've been together for a little while, a little
Yes, we
shared
have.
time. So my curious point about it is how I know your faith has been a large part of this where you are today, and the up and down roller coaster that we all go through from when we were diagnosed. Because we have good days, we have bad days. We have the positive points of life where good things happen, and then we turn around and the next day we can't walk to the end of the driveway, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that faith part has kept you, and your family's been a large part of that also. So not all of us have that, but a lot of us do. And in the faith part, so like I can't walk to the end of the driveway today. I woke up this morning, I'm having problems today. So got to call into the doctor, but yet at the same time, I got to call. I'm going to build me a tiny house at the end of this month. So it's that part where in life you have good days and you have good things happen, and your faith has been a large part of that, hasn't it? And
Yes.
has helped you stay steady somewhat and not go real high and real low, isn't it?
Well, for a long time, I realized I had put myself in this black hole, but no one else knew I was in that hole but me. No one knew because on the outside, everything was happy and I was fine and everything's going to be okay. But I had put myself in this dark black hole. And I remember telling my daughter, I said, I pulled myself up out of the hole, but I feel myself going back in. She looked at me and she said, Mommy, please don't go back. Don't go back in.
How hard is that to adjust every day with what you experience every day, the good points, the bad points? Because as human beings, we all experience that with the very moment we're diagnosed with PAD, and or we lose our leg, or we can't walk to the end of the driveway. It's like my first thought: life is over. Like you said with your shoe, I can't wear my stilettos anymore. What am I going to wear now? You know.
Right, right. Yes, yes. Well, um, a lot of my, again, a lot of my strength come from my kids because at the end of the day, that they're all I had. I used to lie in the hospital, and I had friends from back home that I had been friends with for over 40 some years. Okay. I have siblings. I have three brothers and a sister. My mother is still living. And the whole time I was in these hospitals, I was always looking at the door, waiting for one of them to walk in. And they never did. They never did. I held them accountable for that. I held it against them for a long time that they didn't show up for me. I've lost my two best friends over this whole situation. Um, my family, my siblings, I've forgiven. My mother, I've forgiven. Because I built my own little family in these hospitals. I used to have nurses come, they couldn't wait to come to work just to come into my room and sit and hear my stories or ask for advice. So I had to build my own community outside of my community. And to this day, they're a part of my community.
Have you ever asked them if so our family members, do they really know? They don't know nothing about PAD either. And it's like, how are they supposed to respond? We all, like you say, with cancer, everybody knows about cancer, right?
Yeah.
But PAD, we don't. So it's like my brother. My
Yeah.
brother, when he first went that phone call, it was like, what am I supposed to say? I have no idea. And how do I act? My brother's telling me he can't walk to the end of the driveway and he's only 60 years old. What the
Mhm.
heck is going on here?
Yeah, yeah. But
You
I
know?
realized that people take situations like mine, or people take sickness, they handle it differently. And my family handled it differently than what I would have liked them to, because they didn't know what to say. They didn't know what was going on with me. They couldn't express it to their friends and whomever. So I had to educate them as well as to what this is. And then I started asking questions of them as far as their health is concerned. So I turned it around. If I had kept it the way it was, I wouldn't have a family. I'd be without my family. But I fought for my family. So let me tell you what I did. As soon as the first time I got a chance to get home, I got on a plane and I went. My daughters were so upset with me, but I needed that food from my home, as far as feeding my soul, my spirit, my energy. I needed that. And I knew the only way for me to get it was to go home. So I went home, I got that, I came back, and I started back fighting for my life. They didn't understand how much it took for me to make that trip. I don't think they ever appreciated the fact that I made that trip still with, situations happening in my body. I don't know if they ever appreciated that or not, but it's okay because I got what I needed out of that trip. Okay. Um, but for the most part, it's just been me and my girls, my grandbabies, my ex-husband. I got to give a shout out to him because he's been there. He's been there. So all the negative things that you could take from your situation, don't, because everybody got a reason. Everybody has situations. Everybody can't afford to travel those distances. So once you sit back and realize all these things, you say, okay, I know they love me. I know they see me. They just couldn't get to me.
And Marcia, go ahead and unmute and ask Nita your question.
Well, it isn't really a question, but I relate not 100% to your story because I've not had anything amputated, but feeling alone. And I don't have really family. I have a son, but you said you lost your two best friends over it. And my friends have sorely, except for one, have sorely disappointed me. Like friends that I was really there for in the most difficult times in their life. And I think I haven't lost them, but I just feel like if I can't count on you at a time like that, like, what's the depth of our relationship? But I think they look at it like, well, you had a procedure, kind of like you had your appendix out, and now you're healed and go on. And they see me walking and walking and walking. But I don't think they know I'm walking every day so I don't lose my leg. Like I'm scared to death, and I still could. And nobody understands. They'll say, how's your leg? Kind of like, you have a headache today? They don't get it. It's really frustrating. It's a very lonely feeling where if I had cancer, I think they'd be there. They'd do a meal train, they would all gather around, but they're not. And I don't know. It's a very lonely feeling, but then I think, well, don't blame them because they don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't blame them. You can't blame them because they don't understand. And like you said, if it was cancer, they'd be right there. I don't hold any grudges. I love everybody. I do. I really do. I love everybody. But if you're not gonna be there for me when I need you the most, I mean, we grew up junior high school together, party together, had balls together, babies together, you name it. But I never.
But you didn't have PAD together, did you?
We didn't have, no, we didn't. We didn't have PhD together. And that's the worst part of it, I think, for me. I've always been, I always try to be a private person. I guess now I'm not, but I try and be a private person. And a lot of people don't know that I don't have five of my toes. Because when it first happened and I was moving around, I'd be thinking, they know. They're looking at me. They know I don't have my five toes. They know, they know, they know. This was a constant for me. And till my daughter told me, she said, Mama, you walking fine. Nobody know you. You don't
You're
have
lucky
all
to
your
have
toes.
her.
I'm
How
lucky
many-
to have all three of them.
How many of your
Absolutely.
friends say, let's go shoe shopping because they're scared to ask, or because I belong to a kayaking club, and I asked him a couple of months ago, why haven't you called me to ask me? He said, it scares me to call you because I know you can't go now. I don't want to upset you. I don't want you to feel bad because you can't go with us. So it made me think about his perspective also, in the sense, he says, I don't know what to say to you anymore because I know you can't go with us now. I don't want you to sit alone all day knowing we're out there fishing and you can't go. So I don't want to upset you. But if I call you, you tell us no, I'm wasting my time. It's like, it's that up and down, isn't it?
It is because my family up here is very active. They're very active. And a lot of things that they do, because it requires a lot of walking. I can't go because I can only walk so long before I have to sit down because I have sciatica, you know. So then they came up with this wonderful idea. We just get a wheelchair and wheel you around. Just wheel you around wherever you need to go. You don't have to walk. We just want you to be there. So having that type of sensation around me make me want to do. It makes me want. Let me tell you a quick story. I was on a bike. I rode the bike down this steep hill and I couldn't stop. So my daughter and they scream, and Nana, my granddaughter's going, call 911. But once I fell over, I thought it was funny. So I started laughing. But to them, I'm like this porcelain doll. But I still think I can do the things that I used to do. And then when it hits me that I can't, for that split second, I feel some kind of way. Because I'm thinking this was something that I did all my life, and now I can't do it anymore. But
Why
it's
can't
okay.
you? Why can't you stop a bike? Because of the lack of your toes?
Because of the lack of it. Yeah.
Can't you use your hand, like the handlebars?
No, they didn't have that bike didn't have the handlebar brakes. This was one of those
old fashioned
bike.
Yeah. Did it have a banana seat too?
Only had the pedal brake. You didn't have the hand brake.
It. And I don't have enough strength in my left foot in order to push the pedal back. So I just tilted over. I'm all right though.
I just want to make a comment on something you were talking about. I live in a 21-story condo building, and I've got some really good friends in here. I've got a whole bunch of acquaintances. I know virtually everyone in the building. And they'll ask me how I'm doing, and they're waiting for me to say, I'm fine now, I'm good now. And I can't ever say that. And just in the last couple of weeks, I've realized that I need to educate them a little bit. So I'm starting to say to people, well, I've got this peripheral arterial disease and you don't get better from it. It's with you forever. And it helps me to say that, because it always bothers me when people ask me how I'm doing when I know they're waiting for me to say, hey, I'm great now. And it helps me to say something about it rather than just go, I'm okay.
Do they see you though? I find this. I walk a lot.
Yeah.
And I think they think because I walk a lot, I'm better. or I'm
Oh,
doing good. And,
I know.
I mean,
I
I
get
might
those.
spend 4 hours a day walking where they could do the same in, a shorter amount of time.
Yeah. I get those
Mhm.
comments all the time. Hey, you look great. I saw you walking,
Right.
and well, yeah, I was walking in a lot of pain, but I don't tell them
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't you all think that this is what is so good to bring awareness of this disease? Because first of all, when we got it, we didn't even know what it was. We didn't know we had it.
Yeah.
And now people they don't understand the disease. They don't know about it. And then when they hear about it, it scares them, and I think people just don't know how to act around you. Sometimes they don't even want to know about it because it's a scary disease to have. And
Mhm.
I just this is what's so important. We've got to keep bringing awareness out there and educate people. There's so many people that don't even know they have it, and they have it.
Well, see,
Yeah.
this is the reason. This is the reason why we want to bring awareness. This is the whole reason for this platform. It's for
Mhm.
patients. It's going to be patient led. It's for patients to come on, ask questions, get answers, get resources to where they need to go. This we're trying to pull them out of the shadows and
Mhm.
bring them forward so they can share their stories and
Right.
have a listening ear to give
Right.
information or to give encouragement. This is not about anything but us trying to help each other.
Yeah.
This is what this is all about.
Yeah.
Have wonderful guests come on, share their stories with us,
Mhm.
and then we take it from there and help them in any way we can.
Right. And
Guide them.
to help Kim out too. I mean,
Of course.
like, as far as like the breast cancer, and everything they do with that, I'd love
Yeah.
to see peripheral artery get there, because heart disease is coming out more and more. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many people dying of it and getting things like peripheral artery disease.
Mhm.
I know I'm interested, but definitely interested this Saturday with this next Zoomcast, about lipoprotein A, because I'm in the
Yeah.
clinical trial. And I
Oh,
think
wow.
so many people have it and don't even know they have it. I had never heard of it. I'm feeling wonderful, and I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure I've gotten the medication. I mean, my my LDL score went down 24 points within 2 weeks. So I'm like, I'm hoping I'm getting the medicine. So far, so good. I feel great. So, but
That is
I want to get the word out, and I'm even on a page on Facebook now for LPA. It's called LPA sharing. All
Mhm.
these people who are finding out, and there's so many that have
Mhm.
high LPA. So
Mhm.
I'm interested in the Zoomcast Saturday. I will be there,
That's
definitely.
awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome. And good kudos to you too. Good on you.
Oh, thank you. And
Nita, oh,
Kudos. No, go ahead.
I was going to ask, talking about family and friends, maybe one day we could do a bring a guest, not a speaker, but like a loved one or somebody who cares, who maybe cares about us but doesn't understand. For instance, my best friend, her name is Terry, and she's a wonderful person, but I'm fighting pre-diabetes, and diabetes and PAD are not good together. Well, diabetes isn't good, period. And she loves to cook and bake. She's constantly bringing me baked goods. And I've kind of said tongue in cheek, but I meant it. What are you trying to do to me here?
Yeah.
Where I'm being really good and you're bringing me nut breads and cookies and cake and I mean on the regular, and I am fighting so hard, and she kind of thinks it's cute, and it's hard for me to turn them down. I mean, but and like I don't know, and maybe if she came as a guest to one of these where it was
Yes.
for friends and family,
Yes.
and I wasn't the one saying it.
I would love for any like this is for any and everybody that wants to get informed. This is for any and everybody that has any curiosities, any questions about peripheral artery disease. This is for you. Friends, family members, if you don't understand it, come on this page
So
and follow us so that we can get you educated upon this
and it's that
situation.
it's that. So when you're saying that, when Marcia was talking, all I could think about was my brother,
Mm,
and as a patient, how hard it is for me to ask for help because I'm a man or whatever, but I'm so used to doing things myself. Period. Taking care of business. And my neighbor, when you said that, my neighbor, she goes, if we don't see you in 2 days, we're coming over because we haven't seen you and we worry about you.
Yeah.
And then that part about asking for help from my family, I'll just a little bit share. I remember after I had my heart surgery, 3 days, my defibrillator went off 3 times. I have never been so scared in all my life as I was then. But I was at that moment you were with your family. I kept looking at the door, wanting my brother to walk in. And he's in San Antonio, I'm in Houston. And I remember that Friday morning, I told the nurse, I said, if you don't get somebody, I'm going to kill myself. And she went and got a pastor. And I said, you have to find my brother. I need my brother. And it took everything I had at that moment to give up and ask for help. And I remember talking to my brother. He answered the phone. I said, Grady, I can't do this. He said, Doug, what's wrong? I said, Grady, I'm done. And 4.5 hour journey, it took him 3 hours to get to me. But it was so hard asking for help because I'm so used to doing things, but I've never been so scared in all my life. Those 3 days laying in bed, staying up for 3 days, my eyeballs were fixed on that door, just waiting for that visual to come in that door because I knew I wasn't alone, and it's that moment that we have to share sometimes with our families that I need help. I need help with my neighbor every now and then. I can't do what I used to. And it does make, it brings my manliness down a little bit or whatever. But, it's like, but I do remember that moment telling them I can't do this. And my brother, and I remember my brother will tell you to this day, he'll tell you, I've never heard my brother sound like that ever since we've been brothers. He said, I never heard what I heard in your voice when you called me that morning at 5:30.
But I can say again, like I said, I forgave my family, but I can say I found out later that my sister was behind the scenes. She was financing, helping my daughter, for us to be able to stay where we were. She was behind the scenes financing it. And I didn't know. And until I found that out, I was mad at her too. I was upset. I was truly upset. But sometimes you find family in the strangest places, or what you might want to start considering family. You find them in the strangest places. And I found mine, all of them, in the hospitals, every last one.
Well, don't forget us. Group hug.
Well,
That's what I was going to say. Yes.
Group hug.
Yes.
Don't forget, you have a bigger family now.
You got to
I'm your
come
brother.
along later. You're my family now, but you
Yeah.
came along later. And I love you. I appreciate you so much. I do. I thank God
you know how
for
good
Ken.
it is to, I get on and I see Marsha, I see VJ in England climbing mountain.
Yeah.
I see Marsha out there walking all these walks, and I listen to you and Douglas and Kim, and it just brings me back. It centers me, and you all understand what we're going through.
We understand the struggle.
Yes.
Yeah. And you guys were talking about walking on a regular. I wish I could. I can't. I have my little elliptical here that I move around on, but taking long walks scare me because I'm afraid I'm gonna get out there and get stuck.
Juanita,
I can't get back.
I was the same way. I found loops. Find a trail that has a loop that isn't like straight out and straight back, that goes in a circle, because that was my safety zone when I first started hiking.
Juanita, what about swimming too? Can you get into a warm pool like at the Y or something like that?
I don't touch the water. One, to be honest with you, I can't swim.
Okay.
Two, if I wanted to swim, I couldn't, because then that meant I would have to take off my prosthesis
Mm-hmm.
in order to get into the water. And I don't want anyone seeing.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a whole year to look at my foot,
Mm-hmm.
a whole year.
That would be
and
hard.
Yeah.
It took me a year, but everybody, the doctors all knew she don't want to see it. Don't show it to her. I had home care. Don't show her that foot. When I had to look at my own foot, I was by myself
Mm-hmm.
and I had to take a shower.
Mm-hmm.
And when I took off that wrapping,
Mm-hmm.
I screamed.
Mm-hmm.
Could nobody tell me why I ended up in this predicament?
Mm-hmm.
But once I let out that scream, I got calm. And I said, God, did this for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason behind this. And now I know what that reason is. This is my purpose. This is what all this was meant for. To be able to share with you and all these beautiful strangers out there my story, in hopes that it'll give them courage to come and see Nita and friends and be one of the friends and share your story, because every story is different, but every story matters. You matter.
So Juanita, if he put you in this position, he put you here for a specific reason. If you're going to believe that when you get out that door later, you're going to have to believe he's going to get you to that spot around the corner and he's going to get you home. You don't, if you're going to go there, don't cut him short of giving you what he can give you, because look at what he's brought you through and he's gotten you where you are now.
Won't he do
So
it? Thank you, Doug.
I'm sure he stands there and he goes, well, if she would just walk to that tree down there, I'll get her back. But she has to believe, and she has to take that one extra step to get there. And you will find it, because we're all walking with you in spirit. He's going to get you there, and he will get you back, because he put you here and he's given you the ability and the inspiration to give to us now. So he go around the corner and then come home.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you. Yeah, I can always count on you, Doug. I can
Juanita,
always count on you.
Juanita, bring, always have your phone with you.
Yes.
And I have one of these too.
What's
In case
that?
of emergency, you just like, cool. I won't do it. It's so loud.
I heard.
Emits this, yeah.
Yeah,
And they're
I
not
heard
that
about those.
expensive. And I do, because I take my walk sometimes and it's a little bit dark, because I'll walk and try to get the sunrise. You know, I'm a photographer too, so I take pictures. So, but I carry this with me. I have a couple of them always, because it will alert neighbors that I'm in trouble. Okay. So,
okay. I'm gonna have to look into that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we're going to see
Anybody else wanna
pictures.
come
We're
in?
going to see pictures next time of you in the forest walking down the trail with the deer and the antelope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you that picture, Doug. I'm gonna see.
Put it out there. Put it out on
I'm gonna put it out. You guys gonna see that picture. I promise.
Juanita,
Yes, my
another
love.
thing that you could do if you want to try to start walking is, I don't know if you have any YMCA's, but a lot of them have a track, so it's circular, and there's a bench halfway around. So if you can't make it one whole time, there's a bench so you can sit.
Well, I can't. I must say, when I'm with my daughter, I do walk with her. We go walking. We go to the park and we walk, and then she'll say, "Okay, you good?" And if I'm not good, I say I need to sit down for a minute. But if I'm good, I say let's keep going. But right now, I've been hit with this horrific case of sciatica.
Oh.
And that's what I'm working on right now, is trying to, fix that all up.
Yeah. See, you know what, our YMCA here has they have rehabilitation and physical therapy there, tied in from our local hospital. So they have a special pool that's not real deep. It goes like 3 or 4 feet on one end. And you can exercise in the pool without worrying about, and there's somebody there with you all the time. So that's something to look. I don't know what your why's, but it's just, I'm very fortunate I have that close by. So
Actually, I think I'm getting ready to go to this physical therapist in the office of my vascular surgeon.
Okay,
You know, I have an appointment Tuesday, so
that helps.
I'm
It
hoping I
helps.
can get that done. Yeah,
Yeah,
but you know,
good.
I do move. I do move. It's just
Mhm.
that I don't move like I would want to, like I used
Right,
to. But I
right.
do, you know, I still travel and move around, but I know when to sit down.
Yeah. I have a feeling that you're going to do a lot better than you think.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Mwah.
They're right. Walking is the best medicine. And the way in which you're going to be growing those collateral vessels is when you are walking at a brisk pace and you're trying to get that onset of claudication sooner rather than later. So you walk at a pace where that claudication, the cramping, comes on sooner rather than later so that you can push through it, because it's the time that you're actually pushing through that pain, that claudication, that cramping, that you're
Mhm.
growing those collateral vessels and you're rerouting that blood flow around those blockages in a process called angiogenesis.
Mhm.
And the second part of it is you're teaching your muscles how to survive, how to work more efficiently and effectively with less blood flow, because no matter how many collaterals you actually grow, it's never going to be the same as if your main arteries were working. And so
Mhm.
the body, God created our bodies in a very wonderful, wonderful manner in which it has different mechanisms to get around things. And so
Mhm.
we're very lucky with PAD that there are ways in which we, as the person with it, can do so much to improve our prognosis. But it does take time, it does take perseverance. And I think all of you would attest to it. Once you get to a certain point with PAD, as you said, Juanita, you were suffering for 7 years and didn't know you had it. Well, imagine if it was 7 years ago and someone said that, you know what, that pain, that cramping that you're feeling, that fatigue in your legs, it's not restless leg syndrome. We've done an ultrasound and we've discovered you have PAD. The good news is walking's the best medicine. And you would have started walking every single day on day one. Would you be where you are today?
No, no,
Come join the collateral nation.
no. I
Come
would
jump
not
on
be.
board the collateral
Well, I'm here
nation with
now.
us.
I'm here
You
now.
know what, Juanita, something else that I found, because I was never very athletic. I'm still not athletic, but I hike.
Yeah.
But what it does for me every single day, for my spirit, for my energy level, for my mental wellness, is incredible.
Yeah.
What's that athletes get, like a high from? Oh, it has a name.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Endorphins? Is it?
Yeah, like
Endorphins.
my
Yeah.
endorphins
Yeah.
get
Endorphins.
going, and
Yeah.
I am the wellest sick person you've ever seen. Yeah, really. I mean, and I feel, other than that, I have pain. I feel better than I ever. I am in better physical health than I ever have been in my entire life. And if I don't exercise, and today I had meetings and stuff, and I haven't really. I'm going to get out and do it, but I don't even feel good about it, about my day, unless
Yeah.
I am really out there, and especially if I can do it outside.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
you might find that, even if you don't walk far or you're not having a good day, just that you're outside amongst the trees and the birds and the sky, whether
Mhm.
it's sunny or cloudy, just kind of
Get
connecting with
outside.
nature
Yeah.
might do a lot for you. Not that you need that, but who doesn't, I think.
But I get my sunshine, I get my fresh air, I sit outside on my deck, and I do move. Like I said, I do move. But for me, it's not the movement that I want, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I want that regular movement that I had. And now with me having the issue with my prosthetic, I feel as though that's hindering me from walking like I was walking before.
Yeah.
And I feel as though I'm causing more damage by continuously using that prosthetic. I know it needs to be, reformed and
Oh.
reinvigorated.
Where
Because
is your amputation? Is it they have to go up higher, or is it your 5 toes only?
Okay, so I had my 5 toes amputated. And by the time I got to the next hospital, I had to have my foot amputated back twice more because the doctors left it all open and I got bone infection.
Oh, God.
So, in order for them to get rid of all the bone infection, they had to cut my foot back twice more. And my grandbaby told me she said, "Oh, Nana, you got a cute little baby foot." And then they started calling it the minivan. I got so many different names for my nub.
Oh, bless your heart.
But
But
if you give me a moment,
I bet you look really hot in them shoes.
I do. I look cute now. But if you just give me a moment, I'm gonna disappear for one moment, and then I'm gonna show you. This will be the first time I present this on air. So
Okay.
There
You're
you
brave.
go. Let's see.
okay.
What a brave thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
think
what
I
she
would.
had initially was called a transmetatarsal amputation. And we always say prior to any amputation, make sure you do have blood flow restored. Society for Vascular Surgery guidelines actually dictate that a doctor should try to restore inline flow to the point of amputation prior to any amputation. So that's really important to know. She did have a bypass, I want to be clear as well. But one of the things when someone has a bypass, I always make sure that they ask the doctor, great, you did the bypass, you're rerouting, you're turning on the faucet, but can the plumbing below that point in which that that graft reattaches into the vessel, can those vessels below support that additional flow? And it's always really important to ask that question and to see the scan and have the doctor show you the imaging so that you can confirm that once you have this big bypass, that it's going to be a long-term solution, because if done right, it can be a really long-term solution. But as in Juanita's case, they didn't ensure that the foot could support that additional blood flow. They didn't know how to open those vessels or believe in opening those vessels below the knee and into the foot. And in fact, most doctors at that time did not, to their credit, have a solution for what they call a desert foot. A desert foot is where the arteries are not bringing any blood flow down there. So if she did not leave the state, she would not have another option, not because her doctors were bad. It was because they didn't have access to this new technology. They were not a part of this brand new clinical trial for this Hail Mary deep vein arterialization procedure where they hijack the vein to reroute blood flow into the foot. Now, you mentioned earlier as well, Juanita, that you went back to the hospital because within a few weeks after having this procedure, and they said, no, get all the way back here to Michigan. Now, the reason for that is with a deep vein arterialization, they always say patient selection is critical, because with a deep vein arterialization, your body's got to get used to blood flowing down through the vein. And a lot is happening down there. And so a lot of times the pain gets worse. And if you've never been in this situation, Juanita will tell you that that pain is excruciating. You think general PAD pain is bad. This is just unconscionable pain, and it's relentless. And you go into this procedure hoping that this procedure is going to relieve the pain and you're going to get blood flow, but it gets worse before it gets better. Not only does the pain get worse, you think unconscionable and relentless is bad. Well, it gets worse than that once you have this procedure for a certain amount of time, and the wound looks worse. It gets angry. And so a lot of people, right? And a lot of people do end up wanting to go to the emergency room in that moment for just thinking that the world is coming to an end. We thought it was before, but now, holy Moses, they can't imagine that it's going to get better at that point. But it does. And that's why he wanted you to come back. And it's important for people to know, if you do have a DVA, you heard that doctor, if you were listening to our channel, youtube.com/the way to my heart, we had a doctor on earlier. He's an interventional cardiologist that does these deep vein arterializations, Dr. Jafar Golzar over in the Chicago area. And he was saying you need to be on speed dial with that doctor that does the DVA. You need to, tell them if you end up in another emergency room, call Dr. Golzar, call Dr. Golzar, call Dr. Golzar. Like, call that doctor that performed this procedure so that they are educated, because it's still so new and no one really understands. If they haven't done it before or been in the process of it, no one really understands the progression of the healing for this disease. So I want to make sure that's clear. One other point before you show, I want to make clear, because we did talk about this as well, is with diabetes and people even who are pre-diabetic, a lot of podiatrists especially steer diabetics and pre-diabetics away from soaking in water. We've had coaches on here that have talked about even doing Epsom salt soaks, and the podiatrists are like, no. If you have diabetes, we don't want you to do anything to risk any sort of skin tear. And when you're in water and you're soaking, you notice that your skin gets a little thin and you just barely bump it somewhere and the skin breaks open. That's really bad for diabetes. That's really bad, especially for people who are in advanced stages of PAD as well. So that's why so many people like Juanita as well are guided not to go in the pools. And it's always something that you should talk to your doctor about if you do have diabetes and you do have advanced stage PAD before you do any sort of pool exercises. And with that being said, I'll steer it back to you.
All right. So before you start, Juanita, here we go. I want to introduce the world's first Juanita Shoe Show, nationally televised, worldwide YouTube channel. Juanita is creating her own shoe line right here for us to see. So with that let's introduce Juanita and her beautiful magical show.
You are hilarious. Okay, so this is my foot.
Wow. It's a pretty foot.
Thank you.
And I love your color of choice.
Thank you. This is my foot. So the only thing that's hindering me from really, really walking right now, even though I still used it, is I have a tear in it. And that tear, that tear messes up with the suction that keeps it on my foot.
Okay.
And I cannot find anyone that does this type of work in order for me to get a new prosthesis, because everything else they try and put me in is horrific.
Can you go back to who made that for you? Can't they repair it?
The insurance is not going to cover it because it's a different state. And then I can't find, even though I tried calling him, I can't find him. I don't know where he is either. If I could find him, I would definitely.
Juanita, how expensive are they?
They're very expensive. They're very, very expensive.
Have you tried duct tape?
Get off the line, dude. You can't come back on the show no more. I'm not inviting you back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I just hope I find somebody that will be able to give me a better foot.
Juanita, I have no idea what that foot is made of or how it's made, but I wonder about like a Hollywood effects person.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because the guy that did this one, he's done prosthetic eyes
for Hollywood or for people.
No, for people. And I've seen him put individual lashes in, and once he's finished, it doesn't even look. You can't tell it's not real.
60 Minutes, or I think it was 60 Minutes, had a show on this exactly, and how these people, and they had been Hollywood, like special, makeup type people,
makeup artists,
yeah, how they were making body parts for people. I wonder if I'll try and find that later.
Because I'm hoping, someone will see this and say, oh, I can do it, and give me a call, or connect with me and Kim some kind of way.
What
So
state are you in?
I'm in Maryland.
Maryland. Okay.
So
Mhm.
Juanita, so your insurance will only cover in Maryland?
The insurance I have only covers Maryland.
So you're not
It's
on
not-
Medicare yet.
No. I won't be on Medicare until what is it, 65?
Yep.
Yeah. So you don't
Okay, well,
qualify for Medicare, like a Medicare disability type of thing?
no,
No? Okay.
I don't. So,
You're only 42 anyway, so I mean you got a
thank
long
you.
ways
Now,
to
see,
go.
Doug, you have regained trust in me. You have regained my love. I'm about to be the triple 20, guys. I can't even say that number.
I get
Well,
so
one-
frustrated with our insurance laws, and I worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield for 23 years,
Mhm.
and it's just horrible. And
That's
the
who I
people, the
have.
nurses, the nurses there, they didn't even like it. What things they had to turn down, and the appeals that were made, and
Yeah.
clinical trial, it's horrible.
At one time, they didn't even want to give me a back for my foot,
Wow.
because you need that back to draw out
Yeah.
they didn't even want to approve that. It took the doctors, they went through a lot to get me that back.
Wow.
And
What are you saying? BAT? B-A-T?
Wound
back,
vac.
like a wound
vac.
back.
Oh, VAC. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a wound back. It took me forever to get that, but they fought for me to get it, and I finally received it. But this was another state.
Can
So
you
everything-
appeal that? Can you appeal it in any way at all? Have you tried to do that, going out of state?
I haven't. I thought about it. I did talk to some people, but they give you the runaround
Yeah.
about everything. So right now, I found a doctor here because I still have, okay. So I have PTSD from doctors.
Mhm.
I'm
I
afraid
think we
to
all
go.
do at this
I
point.
do too.
Yeah, I'm afraid to go. But I found this wonderful doctor that my doctor in Michigan approved
Mhm.
here in Maryland. So he has been a lifesaver for me as far as my health is concerned. He has been a lifesaver. He's a good guy. At first,
Juanita,
yes, my love.
I wanted to ask you also, what is your foot made of? Is it latex? Is it
It's like
rubber?
It's like a silicone.
Silicone.
Yes, it's silicone, and then in the toes it has the weights.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing I was wondering, Juanita, is there anybody in his office that can help you appeal this? Because sometimes there's people in the doctor's offices that can help with that. And
I had
help-
that happen for
Yeah.
my heart.
Yeah. I mean, I know my doctor's office, they help me with financial assistance and that kind of thing. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes you can get help. I mean, wouldn't hurt to ask,
Oh, that's true. Because like I'm always been told, a closed mouth never gets fed.
That's right. Squeaky wheel. You gotta be a squeaky wheel.
Squeaky
And
wheel
that's a
too.
really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
really good
I mean,
place to
I
begin.
would try to go that route. What do you think, Kim? I mean, it's always good to try, you know?
I think it's always good to appeal, whether you're here or any place in the globe. It's always good to continue to fight and advocate for
Yes.
yourself and what you need.
Yeah.
And it's really important. And on that note, I want to turn it back over to Nita to close out and let
Okay.
us know next steps of what we can expect from Nita and friends.
So, guys, thank you everyone for showing up to help with this, to launch this website. And hopefully next week, next week will be a surprise. Okay, we'll find out who our friend is next week. I can't tell you right now, but I want you to tell your friends, share it with every and anybody that needs it, and be a part of making a difference. Be a part of the change that we want to see within this community of peripheral artery disease patients, along with their families. So bring your families along on the ride so we can all ride this wave together. I want to thank you, Kim, for facilitating this one.
Mhm.
And thank to everyone that showed up. We'll be back next Thursday at 4 p.m. my time. Here's the link. It's, oh, wait a minute. I didn't see the link. The link is posted. Just like it, like,
Mhm.
and subscribe. And the link is posted below underneath me. Just do that.